But if you guys want to skip all the rebuilding seals and dealing with all that and just get a drop-in unit, I found this unit right here on eBay and Amazon for $189, which is about a quarter of the cost of getting these from Maytronics, and it's a brand new unit. I was able to just search on eBay and Amazon. I found this being sold, and I ordered one just to have, just because I know the motors on these are already worth like $100 each. So the two motors already pay for itself, but I ended up just buying it. It comes with a sticker that says exchange. That doesn't mean anything because usually they sell these as basically a warranty exchange, but they for some reason have these on this brand new. Other than that, this is the latest model that comes with all the Wi-Fi versions of the Dolphin. The only difference I see is it comes with that filter sensor on the bottom here that all the other units don't have. So that's biggest difference right there. And I think the board it uses is the S23 board, which is made for the Wi-Fi configuration and all that. Everything else is basically the same. These things are clear instead of black, and I know this is brand new because the date codes on here all are brand new. This was all made in January of 2026, so only like 3 or 4 months ago. So this thing's brand new. Everything on it is brand new. You can see the motor right there, all the grease and everything they have. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug this up and just test it to make sure it works on one of my regular power supplies. If you don't want to deal with any of the rebuilding and taking it apart, this one is probably your best bet as far as the number of parts you don't have to deal with, and it's just a drop-in unit. And if you need this thing, go ahead and check out the links down in the description. I'll link to it both on Amazon and eBay. Inside you can see everything's brand new on here. The S23 board, as I mentioned. Everything else, the motor looks like an upgraded motor. It's the 49 motor. The old ones were 26 or 29 motor, so this is definitely an upgraded different motor. The drive motor appears to be the same. I'd have to look up those part numbers on there just to double check, but they all come with QR codes now on these newer 2026 versions. But overall, inside is pretty basic, just like every other Dolphin that we've opened up. You know, right here is that sensor that I mentioned. That's the main difference between this 23 board, this sensor. All the old boards don't have that plug. Everything else on the old ones always had all the plugs, whether they had the LED or not. They had the LED plug here, and then all the other stuff is pretty basic on the S20 models of that board. But you can see inside they do have this tiny ass desiccant pack here. This is much smaller than I expect. They just, again, expect these things to basically fail after 2 or 3 years, so you have to replace it right outside of warranty. So they end up doing that, just designed to fail. All right, went ahead and just tested this just to make sure. I've got one of my basic power supplies. I'm gonna go ahead, turn it on, and then turn it on to 1 cycle. Submerge this thing because it's very buoyant, and see if it comes on. So the light's blinking. It's spinning right there, yep. And then now we'll see the impeller run. Yep, it's going back and forth. Doing everything it needs to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off now. It's running like it's supposed to. So passed the initial test, and that's just on the basic power supply. So this is one, doesn't have anything special. It's just a regular on-off one. None of the cycling, none of these other buttons work. It's just this button, and then the weekly cycle button works. I do have my other one over there. That's the Bluetooth version. That one has a 3-prong cable instead of a 2-prong. I can test that one out too, but I'm feeling it's gonna do the exact same thing like this. So I'm gonna test it on this other one. This is the Bluetooth version with the extra button on the side here that turns on the full or a half mode, and then we'll let that thing kind of start up. So it's doing its thing here, it's spinning, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it deeper. It's running the impeller. Yeah, I think. So doing everything it's supposed to down there. When it's in this mode, you can't actually turn that thing on and off right there for some reason. For this, it only works on the Bluetooth version when you have the app on. So I'll go ahead and turn it off. But yeah, definitely works with all the different power supplies. So I went ahead and just connected it to the 3-prong cable in my current Dolphin right here. We'll see if the Bluetooth will connect to this and if this thing will run the cycle with the wall scrubbing and everything. So we'll go test this out now. So I got everything connected back up. I'll go ahead and fire up the app and see if the app detects that this thing is in here and if it recognizes this as something compatible with itself, which I don't think so because they pretty much program and lock these things down. This is very strange. So this thing, all of a sudden, I've got this plugged in. This is my S22 that does not have Bluetooth from what I can tell because I've never connected to it. But this thing, when I turned the app on, it actually registered this thing and recognized it and turned on the Bluetooth on here, which is very odd. So I thought they locked these things down to the thing because they all have the same part number and then they changed internal programming, but apparently it does have it in there. I've never seen that Bluetooth right there, but when I turned the app on, it actually registered this guy. This is the one I wanted, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn that thing on just to turn the power on, and I'm gonna turn the app on to see if it picks up this guy because that's what I'm usually connected to. So I've got it connected there. I was playing around with it and it does connect to the one with Bluetooth and the app. I was able to manually drive it. The one thing I didn't know, I've always just dealt with it with a blue LED when it's just doing the automatic, but when I put it into manual drive, it actually went to a green LED. I didn't even know I knew there was a green and a red LED in there. I didn't know they actually used it for anything, but yeah, when I switched to manual mode on the actual controls via Bluetooth, it turned green. So for testing purposes, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this thing up. I already plugged up the 3-prong cable to that guy over there, and I'll see if the app picks this up and if I can control it with the app and Bluetooth. That really means that maybe some of these features that they charge an extra $100 or $200 for might just be a function of the cable it comes with everything already built into the controller or the actual board on there, because I know all those boards are the same. So it looks like my hypothesis did work. It's connected to the app. I was able to control it, manually drive it. The only thing I don't see that pops up on this version, which is a slightly newer version than the one over here. I think this one was made in 2023 or 2022, where this one was actually made in 2021 or 2018 actually. So this one was 2018 by the serial number that they're the 4518. So that one is a 3 or 4 year difference. So maybe they got rid of that feature as far as that goes on this newer version, but definitely connects with the Bluetooth here and everything works. So it looks like a function of the actual cable for these extra features. So my next experiment is trying one of my other spare units that has a regular S22 board. The one that came with the Bluetooth was a S2 board, and that was the S23 board on that new replacement unit I was playing with. So this is in between those two models right there. It came off of one of my Dolphins that did not have Bluetooth, did not have any of that. It just came with the basic on off and scheduling everyday type power supply that we're testing on. So I'll go ahead and plug up the 3-prong on that and see if that actually works and actually enables the Bluetooth. So I plugged it up. I'm gonna go ahead, turn on the Bluetooth and see if it picks it up and enables this thing. So I entered the robot's name on here and serial number and enabled a bunch of other stuff on my power supply that I didn't have before, and it actually enabled the board and everything to run over here, which was the first time I've seen this thing. So it looks like the app actually looks for a robot that came with these features first before it enables everything, but it looks like, see, that thing was not on earlier when we were looking at these. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off before I burn out the motors. So it looks like the app does do like a third party or an internet validation of the serial number just to make sure it originally had all these features before it enables it, but it looks like it's all based in software. I've got this third power supply here, so this one is a 2021 S22 version, which is, again, it was newer than that one that came with that. So I'm gonna go ahead, try to plug this up and see what lights come on here and what Bluetooth gets enabled on this. So it looks like this guy is not one of the ones that has Bluetooth enabled for the newer features from 2021, so slightly different version of it, or the different software where it doesn't pick it up. So this one doesn't, but the 2018 one works and the 2023 one works. But yeah, I find it odd that this thing didn't unlock the Bluetooth or anything. The only thing I could think of is that this one right here, this 2021, is actually originally mated to that S22 board that I'm using in that thing right now. So maybe it recognizes it as being mated together and disabled it from the beginning. The only thing I can try is using a board that this thing is not originally connected to and seeing if it recognizes it or if it enables the Bluetooth. That has to be the only theory that they have already been mated together, because I'm looking at the version. So this is that 2021 S22 board. It's an 8.31. This one over here is a newer version of this, 8.31. So it's the same model as far as the version goes. All these are the same advanced 115. So pretty much all that stuff's the same. The only thing different is software, and that's the only thing I could think of that makes the huge difference here, because why else would this one all of a sudden think that it has Bluetooth and had asked me for the serial number, and then this one didn't bother or didn't even come up because it's already familiar with the board that's on that unit. The other thing I could try is hooking it up to this guy and seeing if it recognizes it because of that in here, because this thing has a board that that thing is not familiar with. So I'm gonna go ahead and test that theory out using that other motor and this board along with this power supply with the app. So that board didn't work, so it didn't detect the Bluetooth. So I'm gonna go one more and I'm gonna try that new unit that we were messing with earlier. So looks like once I put a board that it didn't recognize onto here, it enabled the Bluetooth. I went through that. It asked for my serial number for this one right here that has all the features, the Triton PS Plus. So I used that serial number and I was able to enable the Bluetooth here to that board. So it's got something to do with these things recognizing the board, recognizing the serial number. If you put a serial number of a known robot that has Bluetooth, that has Wi-Fi and all that, it's gonna detect it, it's gonna register it, and it's gonna enable the app. And once I enable it, it turns on all the timers and all this stuff. So this thing is crazy how they just lock everything with software. So one other test I did, I went ahead, used one of the old 2-prong cords, plugged it into here just to see if it would recognize or if the features I unlocked on here actually worked. So actually when I turned it on, looks like everything worked as far as the delay button here, the full 2-hour or 1-hour mode, and then the normal mode right here, which was the only thing I was able to select before. So I was able to basically unlock the power supply by entering the serial number on a model that had it, plus I swapped the board so it didn't recognize it. So yeah, if you guys found these videos on my rebuilding motors and troubleshooting and working on these Dolphin useful, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to your channel if you haven't already to stay on top of all my different DIY videos for all the things I do around the house, on the cars, whatever I'm working on. If I can do it, you guys can do it. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.